Chapter 3. So this one is going to be a little bit shorter than chapter 2, so that's nice. So this one's just about signs, signals, and road markings. In chapter 2, you and your vehicle, you learned about some of the controls in your vehicle. This chapter is a handy reference section that gives examples of the most common signs, signals, and road markings that keep traffic organized and moving smoothly. So this is basically just, different signs that you'll need to know. So there are 3 ways to read a sign: by their shape, color, and the messages printed on them. Understanding these 3 ways of classifying signs will help you figure out the meaning of signs that are new to you. So stop signs always look like this. So this is their shape, color, and then they usually say stop. So yield. This one shows driving regulations. So you might see like speed limits and things posted on here. This explains lane use. So I'll usually have the lines of the road and like how to use them. This can be used for school zones, and they're usually yellow, and they're this shape, like a house shape. This one tells about motorist services, so maybe like rest stops ahead. This shows a permitted action, so if you can turn right or you can turn left. This shows a not permitted action, so if you can't turn right or you can't turn left. This warns of hazards, so it will tell you if the road is going to be curving or anything like that. This is construction zones, so this one's orange, and construction ahead or whatever. This is a railway crossing. This is only used for railway crossing because it's supposed to be like an intersection. And this shows distance and direction. So if you're driving to Abbotsford, it'd say like 40 kilometers to Abbotsford from my location. So just different things like that. So here are the regulatory signs. These signs tell you about the driving laws and regulations. It is an offense under the BC Motor Vehicle Act to disregard them. Drivers who do not follow the instructions on these signs may receive penalties. And so that's just with a police officer, right? If they catch you breaking the law, of course, they're going to give you a fine or a warning. So here's the stop sign: stop completely, continue only when safe. The yield: give right away to other vehicles or pedestrians. Speed limits: so you want to stay around the speed limits that are posted here. And then they'll do this kind of sign when there's a speed change. So say it's 70 right now, but then coming up it's 50. And then there will be a secondary sign after the sign that looks like this that says 50. So basically this is kind of like the safe zone where you slow down to the speed that's posted here, or speed up to the speed that's posted. This is a disaster response route. So you want to stay off this road during major disasters, as it may be used for emergency vehicles, or it would be good for you to know the emergency way out of your location. Wrong way. So this is usually on exit ramps, and it just tells you like you're going the wrong way, you need to turn around right now. These tell you one way, so these are the directional ones. It'll tell you where to go and what to do. This is for BC, March to October. You don't have to have winter tires, but then from October to March, you must have winter tires or tire chains. And they do check these at roadblocks and things like that. So again, I thought it was May, but it must be March. October to March, you have to have them if you're traveling up to Whistler or traveling up to the Okanagan. Do not enter, another one that you'll find just when you're going the wrong way or to keep you from going the wrong way. Slower traffic must keep right. So you always have to keep right if you're going to be slower. You want to pass on the left. This one just tells you not to pass. This one will show you, see the broken line, that means you can pass over the line. But just in general, the traffic is going to be going that and that. This is another directional sign, just shows you that there's a passing lane or if there's a divider. And then these signs will tell you, they're pretty self-explanatory, honestly. There's not really a lot of them that you require additional information with. They try to put all of the information you need on the sign. So this is school, playground, and crosswalk signs. So in pedestrian activated ones, when they press the button, the light will flash. However, if a pedestrian has a crosswalk, they always have the right of way. So even if it doesn't have the flashing light and there's just a crosswalk, they'll usually put a sign here so that you know pedestrians can cross too. But if you see a crosswalk, you always have to give right of way anyways. So they just have different variations of this for schools as well. So there's the crosswalk for pedestrians, and usually there's a crossing guard if it's at a school location. School zone, reduce speeds when present. Playground zone, be prepared to slow down. So playground zones are 30 kilometers every day from dawn to dusk. So basically from light to dark, it's 30 kilometers. But see how this one doesn't have a speed limit sign? That means that you just want to be careful. Whereas this one, you have to go 30. Same with this one. So 50 kilometers is high for school zone, but if it's on a highway, they usually raise it a little bit. And school hours are from 8 to 5 on weekdays. So you'll see here the 30 kilometer one, 8 to 5. And then sometimes even the sign will say 8 to 5 on school days, but that is less common. More commonly, you're going to see this guy or this guy. And again, if it has the speed, you have to slow down to that speed. But if it doesn't have the speed, then you just want to be cautious. And most people will still slow down to 30. But yeah, basically, if it has the speed posted, you have to go that speed. Lane use signs. So these ones just help you navigate the road, right? So if it's a confusing intersection, 99% of the time they will have signs like this that help you just see what you're supposed to do. Turn control signals. Again, this is like how you either can turn or you can't turn. It's just guidance control and usually self-explanatory. Parking signs. These are important because there are bylaw officers that go around and check different parking areas. And if you're parked in, say, a zone here that you're not supposed to be, they will tow you or they will give you a ticket. And just to save yourself, it's best to follow parking directions. So these exist in Langley, mostly in Vancouver, and like high populated areas. So you just want to be mindful of the parking signs for sure. Reserved lane signs. So these are also in Langley now, and also, of course, in Vancouver. The white diamond painted on the road surfaces marks reserved lanes. Reserved lane signs are also placed over or beside lanes that are reserved for certain vehicles, such as buses or high occupancy vehicles. Other HOV signs may give additional information on who may use the HOV lane. So we have this on the number 1 highway, and then also downtown Langley near the bus depot. And if you have more than one person in the car, you can use an HOV lane, or if it only has a bus sign, then you want to use the lane only when you have to and not before that, because again, you can be ticketed by police officers. And then it will show, like, see in this picture, there's an HOV lane and it's telling you not to turn into the HOV lane, but rather into this far lane in the middle here. So you just want to be mindful of road signs and what they're telling you to do, because it's for your guidance and for your benefit. Warning signs. Most warning signs are yellow and diamond shaped. They warn of possible hazards ahead. So this is like the winding road one I was mentioning. And then this one's a common one too, the hidden road. So if someone has a driveway or there's a road that's kind of tucked in behind the trees, they'll put this sign so that drivers are aware that there could be someone coming from the street, or that someone may be turning on that street as well. This one's important too, the sharp curve ahead. So say the speed limit is 50, but then you see the sign that says 30, that means that that corner is going to be really steep, or really narrow, and you're going to want to slow down to make it a safe and smooth transition. So you don't necessarily have to go down to 30 because it's not like a required speed limit, but at the same time, it's for your safety, and it's best to follow them if you don't know the road, especially because that will keep you from going off the road or flipping your vehicle. Curve ahead, slow down, merging traffic. Road merges with another road, right lane ends. This one, of course, is really common. You're always going to see it because the right lane usually ends and merges in, like highways or even just streets in general. This one, not so common. Two-way traffic, of course. Narrow roads. Sometimes you'll see this on a bridge where it's like a narrower bridge off a road and you have to just be mindful of your space and the other car's space. Again, same with this one. Bumpy or rough road. You'll see this in construction zones sometimes as well. The road may be slippery. This is in like danger zones where people have crashed before, for both of these signs actually. So when there is a road sign, you do want to be mindful because they don't just put road signs out for fun. It is for your safety. Stop sign ahead. This is a good sign to gauge how soon you should start stopping for a stop sign. Because they usually put it a couple of meters before the stop sign, which allows you enough time to stop. So as a new driver, this might be a good sign for you to practice your stopping on. Roundabout ahead, always important because roundabouts are fun as a new driver. Signal lights ahead. These ones here in Langley, we have a lot of the prepare to stop. So if the light is about to turn yellow, it will start flashing and then it will flash all the way until the light is red. While the light is red, and then when it turns green again, it will stop flashing. So it's a good gauge to tell if you're going to make the light or if you need to stop. More extra signs. So pedestrian crosswalk, school bus ahead, cyclists. So in areas where there's many cyclists, they might put the sign. Fire truck entrances you have to be careful of, so you don't want to block them or anything like that. So those will usually be in front of fire stations. When you're leaving the highway, they always give you a recommended speed to reduce to, and you do need to follow that sign. This one would be more on a rural area, I think. Hazard or danger ahead, definitely pay attention to this one. In Langley, we actually have a lot of deer, and in BC in general, and they move around at dawn and dusk. And if you see this sign, you want to be careful because that means that there is a known area nearby. Rocks. When you're driving up north, you'll see this a lot because there can be rock slides, and sometimes the side of the road is unstable, and you want to be careful when you see the sign. Tunnel ahead. This one always comes with the remove sunglasses because when you're in a tunnel, you cannot see because it's so dark. And you want to use your headlights in the tunnels as well. And it just reminds you, right? Like as a driver, sometimes you forget, and these signs are just here to help you. Okay, these signs are really common as well. So you just kind of want to be mindful. Again, they usually come with a supplementary sign above that will tell you more information. But obstruction, keep right or left. See, this one is going to the middle, showing that you're going to have a problem in the middle of the road. And this one is going to the right to show you to keep right. And this one's going to the left to tell you to keep left. Construction signs. So usually they come with a traffic control person who will tell you everything that you need to know. If you do something wrong, they will wave their sign at you. But it is against the law to ignore the signs or to ignore the traffic control person. So you do want to pay attention, move cautiously, and pay attention to the signs and the people that are working there. So usually there's a detour if they're blocking off a certain part of the road that's not common. They will have construction ahead signs. Sometimes they will have this sign or just the person standing there. They will have different speed limits depending on their location. So if it's necessary for traffic to be moving quickly, they'll have a quicker sign. Whereas if I've seen them as low as 30 kilometers an hour before as well. And that's usually the typical construction zone. If there's no sign posted, it's just 30 kilometers. And then you'll have the sign at the end, thank you, resume speed on some zones. Some do not, but then you'll notice that there's no more construction zones, and then that just means that it's over. Here you are, the fine that you can get for speeding in construction zones, 196 minimum fine. So it is a large fine, and you don't want to be caught for that. Information and destination signs. These signs give more information about destinations, route numbers, facilities. Here are a few examples. So again, see if you're going to Kelowna, Abbotsford, anything like that. It tells you the distance in kilometers. And that can help you gauge your fuel as well as your timing and just your trip in general. This is a directional sign, so if you're supposed to take one route for a different city, you would just pay attention to which ones are where. These are on our Highway 1 just to let you know that you are on Highway 1, or for example, Highway 99. And then this sign is nearby hospitals. Sometimes it's blue as well, and it's just to tell you that a hospital is nearby. Gas station available ahead, and accommodation. Usually these are on the signs on the highway just so you know if you need gas, okay, there's gas at this exit. And then every once in a while there is travel information booths that you can talk to, but with Google and phones and nowadays you just pull over anywhere and check your travel information. Railway signs. Public and highway crossings are indicated with signs or pavement markings that may also have mechanical or electrical warning devices for your protection. Watch for them and remember you must always yield to trains. So trains have a 2-kilometer stopping distance usually. So as a car, you are the person that has to take control of the situation. So if you see these flashing lights or the barriers, you have to stop far enough away from the train to stay out of danger. And then there's also different signs like this that will warn you that there's a railway coming. Not all railway intersections have this warning system. So whenever you cross a railway station, you always want to treat it like a 4-way stop. Stop ahead of time, look around, and then continue on. So here's some lane control signals. They do have these on Highway 99. I haven't really seen them much else. But it just tells you like stop, don't drive in this lane, or if it's flashing orange or yellow, it means that they're going to change the lane, and as a driver you don't know which way it's going to change, so it's best to move out of that lane entirely. And whereas the green light, of course, you're free to drive in that lane as much as you'd like. Traffic lights, I feel like most people know traffic lights already just as being observers, but these are just used to help organize the flow of traffic. Generally, red light means stop, yellow light means caution, green light means go. These signals have different meanings if they are flashing or if they're shaped as arrows rather than circles. And in some places, green arrows may flash, and in others, they may not. So again, just getting to know your local area. Red, always stop. You may turn right or left onto a one-way street, but other than that, you're stopping. And even if you're unsure, just stay stopped. Steady green, you can continue as normal. Yellow, you want to slow down because it may be turning red right away. Flashing red, stop and then continue when it's safe. You will get this one when the power goes out. The light will flash red or it will flash green, and you want to be super careful because those are usually extreme circumstances. Flashing green. So you'll see these lights where they just flash green until someone walks up and presses the button. So you're free to go with a flashing green. When it's yellow, sometimes they'll put this up if there's been accidents in that area and you need to slow down and proceed with caution. Here's your arrows. So the green arrow, if you're in the left turning lane, sometimes you'll get the arrow before the light will turn green, and sometimes it's in a separate box of its own, which just makes it less confusing for drivers. Green arrow, same as a green light, just go straight. You can't turn usually in that situation. So this is the one that I was talking about, where there's a separate section for the green arrow. And that just makes it less confusing. Either the light can be green or it can be red. You want to pay attention, because if you are the last person in that light and it's red, you're going to have to stop. Whereas if it's green, you can quickly go before it turns red completely, such as here. And then this is a transit priority signal. This may be used in Vancouver, but personally I haven't seen this one before, where it's the white rectangular light. So only buses may go on this signal. Road markings. Road markings give you warnings or direction. They're painted onto the roadway, curbs, or other surfaces. It is illegal to drive over freshly painted or wet pavement markings. This is just because it makes a mess of the road, and city workers have to come back and clean up that mess, and it can be confusing. So yellow lines. Yellow lines divide traffic moving in opposite directions. If there is a yellow line to your left, there will be traffic coming towards you on the other side of that yellow line. So the broken line, it's it's usually made for two directions, so one person will be going this way and then one person will be going this way. But if it's broken, you can pass if it's safe to do so. This one is more guidanced, so you'll notice that sometimes roads will have it on the right side and then further up it'll change to the left side, and that's just to give equal opportunity to people passing. And so if the broken line is on your side, you may pass, but then if you were on this side of the road, you would not be able to pass because the broken line is not on your side. The double solid yellow line, no passing allowed. You must stay on your side. Whereas if it's a single yellow line, you can pass with extra caution. So that means they don't advise it, but if you really had to, you could. A double broken yellow line means the lane is reversible. The lane control signals will show you whether you may use this lane. So that means they'll have an extra sign that will explain to you what is going on here. This is pretty common where they have it's called a suicide lane, because sometimes if people aren't paying attention and they're turning in different directions, they could have a collision. But in general, these lanes are fairly safe as long as you're aware of yourself and others. And it just gives you a separate spot to pull into. So say if you're in this traffic and it's quite busy, you pull into this lane to turn, then that just helps traffic move consistently. So these lanes are quite handy. You just have to be aware when using them. White lines are used to separate lanes of traffic moving in the same direction. White lines are also used to mark crosswalks, stopping positions, and the right shoulders of highways. So if it's a solid white line, you cannot change lanes. If it's a broken one, the lane changing is allowed when safe. And then this is a stop line. So as a new driver and as an experienced driver, you always want to stop before this line and then ease out, as you can see. So it's just for safety, right? Like the stop line is going to be the safest area, and then you can pull out as needed. This is a pedestrian crosswalk. So this is where the pedestrian always has right of way and they can walk out at any point. Pedestrian crosswalk, stop for pedestrians. Again, they come in different styles. So there's this one, and then there's the one with the lights, which of course you can't miss. Reserved lane markings. So these are for HOV and bicycles. So the HOV is the diamond, and the cyclists have like the little bike person. And it's cyclists only. And sometimes you have to be mindful when you're turning right that you're crossing a cyclist lane to make sure that there's no cyclists there. So other markings that they just didn't cover in general, just lane directions. So you'll see different signs like this when you only have the option to go straight or turn left. And then sometimes there's painted islands. So for example, if you're going to turn left, there will be a painted island. You should not drive over the painted island because it's for safety. And the people ahead of you may not know that you're behind them because they have not driven over the island. So it's just a safety in general. You just want to merge in here instead of going over the island. And here we are to chapter 4, which I will add into a new video.